Welcome back, everyone. So on my 1956 Ford 124 scale crawler that I'm making with a die-cast body, aluminum chassis bonded to the plastic chassis that would have went to that model car, I'm now working on the suspension. But before I can get to the actual suspension, I need to modify the drive line to fit. Ideally, I'd like it to fit in the wheel wells. I'm not too concerned if the front sticks out just a little bit past, because that would give you a little better approach angle when you have to crawl up something. So here, the smaller one is my front drive shaft, and these two were identical. And yet you can see what I've done here. I've just simply put a slice through here. I don't know how well that's discernible on camera, but I put a slice through here on my rotary tool, and then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. Then I'm going to drill through here and through here, and then just basically pin these two together. And I'm just going to make basically a swing arm type suspension. Nothing fancy, not a bunch of articulation. I'm going to try that because this vehicle is pretty heavy. I want both springs, whatever set of springs I decide to use, to be able to absorb and do function. It won't have very much articulation, if hardly any at all, but maybe I'll be surprised. I don't know. But now I have to do the rear drive shaft. I've marked out the approximate center mark here, and I left that one differently on the rear intentional because if I have to put a place to mount the rear shock, I want a place where I can put a pivot ball inside there. In the front, more than likely, I'm going to have to come up here taller. I don't know just yet. I'm just sorting out one thing at a time as I get there. But yes, you can shorten these drive shafts. I think this was for a, or at least recommended for a WPL 1/16 scale, like C24 and some other vehicles. As you can see, I cut down the little nub. Where is it? Pull this one out. I cut down that little nub right there as well. And that gave me about 7 millimeters of shortness, right, from the, whether it's fully extended or fully compressed. I shortened it about 7 millimeters overall, and I'm not too concerned about being able to do this in and out drive function, because like I said, I'm going to make a swing arm type suspension. I think it'll help with the longevity of the vehicle, less maintenance. It might actually help it in crawling. My thought in my mind is when, like for example, the right front tire dips down into a valley and there's nothing to touch it. Now the weight is on the right side of the vehicle and the left front is up in the air, or maybe has very little surface contact with the ground. It might not have the necessary traction to crawl up and out of that hole. Whereas if it's a swing arm where both front tires are swinging up and down at the same time, and same with the rear, I think the weight balance will be better and crawl up and over obstacles and out of small valleys. Anyway, that's my thought. I think keeping it simple will be the way to go on this, and then I don't know, maybe revisit it again in the future. This truck, again, was first just a simple die-cast model. I forget who made it. Jada Toys, maybe. I think that's who it was. Let's see if the marking's still in here. Oh, well, I've covered it up in hot glue, and you can't see that anymore. I believe that's a Jada Toys, and it is die-cast. The door's open, the hood does open, but it's pretty tight in there. Stick my servo up in there. I can stick a receiver in there and a small battery pack in the back, which will fit in this area back here quite easily. And this is a homemade gear reduction system with a 130 sized motor. And I just basically piecing all this stuff together. Shocks from my old WL Toys A959, because I had since a long time ago bought different shocks for it. So those are left over. They're not the best. I mean, they leak severely, so they're basically just spring shocks. I guess I could put some very thick oil in there. There's not very much suspension travel in them. And I have some 1/24 scale shocks that have about the same amount of travel, believe it or not, and they feel a little bit smoother, so I'll probably have to take those apart, clean them up, see if there's any O-rings inside of them, and make them a little bit better. But now I need to cut the drive shaft off, so put a slice there, and same on the other side. That way that pin on this drive shaft can slide all the way out. Then we'll grind this down, or I will grind it, me, myself, and I. We will grind this piece off, stick it back together, and then we'll drill a hole somewhere and repin it. Because I don't think my torch, even though it's a butane torch, I don't think it's going to get hot enough to solder this back together, and I think a pin will be better in this particular case. Other than that, there is my monstrosity so far, and have a good day.